Okay, so in this lesson, we're going to build a Tinkercad house. So first we start by looking at the shapes that we're going to need for this house. So you can see that we have a rectangle for the base of the house. We have a triangle for the roof of the house. And then it looks like in the doorway here, we have a rounded shape and a straight edge shape. So maybe a combination of two shapes, something like a sphere or a cylinder, and maybe something like a square. So we're going to click over to the next screen, and it asks us to look at those different shapes, which we've already addressed. So we're going to continue. It says to create the outer shape of the house. So the instructions start by telling us to place a box on the work plane. So we're going to drag our box over, and it says to size it to be 40 millimeters by 20 by 10. So we're going to click on the edge here, and it's already 20 wide. So we're going to make it 40 long, and click on the top box here, and it's at 20, and we want it to be 10 tall. So we're going to type in 10, hit enter, and it lowers it to be the height of the house that we need. And then it tells us to continue to the next step. So we click over to the next page. It says to create the shape to hollow out the house. What we are going to do is first click on the red box to select it, which it's already selected, and I'm just zooming in so I can see it better here. And it says to select the duplicate button on the menu bar in the top left of the screen. So this button right here where it says copy, then paste, and here it's duplicate. So if you click on duplicate, it makes an exact copy. We can't see it because it's sitting underneath it. But if we hit one of our arrow keys, it slides it over to the side here. And then it says to use the dots to shrink this shape 1 millimeter smaller. So if I just click on the corner here, instead of it being 20, I'm going to type in 19. And then down here, instead of 40, I'm going to type it to be 39, hit enter. And then it says to continue to the next step. So we click over, it says to hollow out the house. So it says to select the block and to make it into a hole. So we come up here to where it is gray and click on that, changes it to a hole. Then we click our left button and hold it and drag over both shapes to select them both. We come up here to our align tool, L. If we click that, then we're going to click the center buttons to get them to align to each other's center. So we center this side and center this side. And then you can see that they are grouped together perfectly. And so we come up and we click on our group tool. So Control G also works to learn our quick keys. And now we have the outside portion of our house. Then it says to add shapes to make the doorway. So if you look to see a picture here of the two shapes that you need, it says that you're going to need a red box, and to have the round roof shape, you're going to need to combine that then also with the round roof shape. So we're going to come over to the right here for our basic shapes, and we're going to drag over a box and scroll down to find the round roof shape and drag that over. And it says to click on the round roof shape and to use the arrow to lift the work plane 20 millimeters off of the work plane so that it is on top of our red box. An easier way to do that is to drag a work plane and drop it on top of our box right here. And then as you notice, if we select our shape over here and hit the button D, it drops it on top of that work plane. So now our box and our round roof are already aligned at the right height. And then it tells us to click over to the next step, and it says to align those two shapes together. So we're going to click on our align tool after we select both of our shapes. So if you hold down your left button and drag over both shapes, come over to the top to your align tool and click. And then we want to align them on where our box is shaped. So if we click on our box, you'll see where the align tabs are has changed. And if we click center and then center on our two tools here, and if I kind of change the position that I'm looking, it might be a little easier to center it. And for some reason, it's being a little stubborn. So maybe if I continue to zoom out and change position, it will work with me. There we go. So now our two shapes are aligned. And then it tells us that we are going to group them together. So we're going to come up to the top and click on group, and they have now become one shape. Then we're going to come up to the tab here to make it into a hole because we want to take that space out of the wall. And then we're going to click over to our next page where it tells us we're going to cut the doorway opening. So we scroll down here and it says to select the door shape, and then to hold the shift key and drag one of our white corners. And that's going to help keep our scale, our size about the same as we shrink it down so it stays similar shape, so it's not going to change in that way. And you can see I've scaled it down, but if I click on my height is 9 and the height of my wall is 10, which means I'm going to have a really big door. So I'm going to click on my height and actually continue to scale this down just a little bit more. You can see that my width of my door is now 4 millimeters wide. So that looks about right. And then I'm going to drag my shape, whoops, undo. It's okay, we always make mistakes. It's all right, click off and then click on my shape. I'm gonna drag it over and I think I want it in front of my house here. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drop my work plane back down on the ground again. And I'm gonna hit D for my button so my door is now actually aligned with my house, not above it. You can see it's not rotated the right direction because the round side is facing the other way. So I'm going to use this arrow down here at the bottom. If I click on it and I type in 90, it's going to rotate it exactly 90 degrees the other way. And then if I align my door with my house, I can hold my left click button down and select both shapes at the same time and use my align tool again and center it in the middle of my house. And then I can also drag a work plane and align it with my house here and click my doorway and then hit D to drop it down onto that work plane. And then if I hit my right arrow button, it will move it this direction. If I hit my left, it moves it this direction. If I go down or up, it's moving all these different directions that aren't helpful right now. So I'm actually going to leave it where it was, right in the middle. And if you see this arrow on the top that normally raises it up and down, if you see, because of the way our work plane is facing, it's actually going to help us move the door into the house. So we're going to lower it into the house and then rotate so that I can see that it's actually through the house, and that since I see it goes all the way through, I can now highlight both shapes and select group. Then I can rotate back around again. I'm going to go ahead and drop my work plane back on the ground in front of my house so I can work on my house in the way that I would like to again. Okay, so now I've gotten through adding that doorway to the house, and now I need to add a roof. So we're going to come over here to the right, scroll down, whoop, too far, scroll up. Here's my roof. Drag my roof over to my work plane, and we need our roof to be the same size as our house. So first we're going to make it so that it is 10 millimeters tall, like it says in the directions here. So we're going to click on the top square, and it's already set at 10, so we're all set there. And then remember, our house was 20 by 40. So we're going to make our roof the same. It's already 20, but we need to make it by 40 on this side. And then we're going to go ahead and highlight both of our shapes by using our left click button and dragging over top. We're going to click L to align and center. So our two things are aligned. Now notice our roof is inside our house. To be able to get our roof on top of our house, we're going to actually go ahead and drop a work plane on the top edge